Fight me.
Give us the Alabama story. You can't tease me like that, Coach. Give us some details. So why is Alabama not allowed to show up at school?
You just said there's some dude coming on at 8:15 or something like that. I don't.
Yeah, but if you give me a good Alabama recruiting story, he's bumped. So go ahead.
No, it happened like this. Okay, so that spring, everybody's coming in on Brandon Harris. They found him, the highlight film. He's phenomenal. They're coming to watch spring practice, and so Nesmeyer and Napier come in, assistant coaches from Alabama. Both do a great job of recruiting. They love the guy. Hey, Coach, we want to offer Brandon. I'm like, okay, good. How many quarterbacks have you offered so far? About 6 or 7. Oh, I said, okay, so you really haven't offered anybody. Well, Coach, really an offer for us at quarterback is really an offer to come to camp. I said, okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand you offering these kids to go meet Nick Saban. That's a big deal. And he might go. I said, but what I'm telling Brandon is, you only have so much money and so much time to spend. Hey, go to the schools that have you at the top of the board. Ohio State has said you're number 1 on our board, okay? Ole Miss has said you're number 1. Texas A&M, LSU wasn't in yet. Cam hadn't come yet. So all these other schools, Baylor, a lot of these schools have said, you're number 1. Auburn, we want you right now. We want you to lead our recruiting class. We want to try to get some of these great athletes out of Louisiana to come with you over here. And we want you to come, and you're our guy. And if you have a committable offer. And so that's what I'm telling this guy. And so Napier goes back, and he said, after watching Brandon's spring game, he said, man, he's phenomenal. He calls me the next day, Coach, I got some good news for you. Tell Brandon to call me on this phone during the period, and I'll put Nick Saban on the phone. So we do that, and Nick Saban says, Brandon, you have a scholarship at the University of Alabama. Oh, Coach, great. That's big. That's really big, So they gave him a scholarship offer. So this is a committable offer, okay? Then, we Skype Nick Saban on my computer here a while later. We're talking to him, and he's talking about, hey, we want you to come to campus. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. We want you to come during this camp. Yeah, sure. We need to come to campus. Got it. So he goes, and by the time he gets to campus in June, I'm not saying Brandon was going to commit to Alabama. I really don't know. I just know that wasn't an option. Basically, what they told him at that point was, hey, look, we got other guys that's going to come through here that I promised them a shot, and so I got to wait and see them. And so he comes back home. Yes, sir. He's just playing along and comes back home and then read on the Internet that they've taken a commitment from somebody else. And all I'm saying is this. It's like, okay, if you offer Justin Rogers today and he doesn't commit, I understand that offer might not be good years from now. But if you offer him, you're making a committable offer. And I made him make the distinction between a committable offer and just an offer to come to camp. If you make a committable offer, at some point, that offer needs to be there needs to be a window where my guy can say, yes, I'll take that offer, and we're done. And that never happened with Brandon. It was just the lure, dangling him coming to camp and competing against other guys. And so, you know what? It's like, okay, maybe I'm playing too hard. I don't know, 4 years later. But I don't want him on campus. I don't want him making those kind of offers to any of the rest of my guys. And my guys know they can go to Alabama. Marshall's been to Alabama a couple times watching ball games. If he wants to go to Alabama, he can go, and I'm going to pull for him, no doubt. I'm just not going to help Alabama recruit my guys.
They can go to Alabama, but high school football coach David Feaster is not going to help Alabama recruit. This was from ESPN Baton Rouge 104.5 off the bench 2 years ago, 2017, as Feaster was recounting how number 5 dual threat quarterback at the time, Brandon Harris, kind of sort of got an offer, but it wasn't a committable offer. And a committable offer is what we're talking about in this segment. Look, some offers are just invitations to things like what Oklahoma just put on yesterday, a junior day, or camp. You got to work out to earn your offer, to quote, earn your offer. Which, man, if I was that kid's parents, I'd be so hot and we would just cross it off the list because that's not how we want to do business. I understand that that's how some other folks want to do business, though, and that's also just the way that this sometimes happens because folks who are really deep into the weeds on OU fandom remember that Eric Swinson had his offer pulled from Michigan. Yes, it had his offer pulled from Michigan, from my man Patrick Masick's, his Valhalla, after being committed for 2 years, and then he ends up going where he ends up going, for those of you that want to eat on that joke. But this kind of thing sort of does happen. You just find somebody that you want better, but you try to quietly just kind of inform them they should probably take trips elsewhere and try to get themselves flipped or landed somewhere else, and you won't hear about a kid decommitting. You'll just hear about him quote unquote flipping his commitment, and then the narrative becomes that the kid, he was never in anyway. Well, sometimes there's extenuating circumstances to these things, and I think this is interesting to get into because Ross Dellinger at Sports Illustrated actually put some numbers to how many offers go out. And this is getting back into what I was talking about in the first and second segment of what's the line here, man? 1/5 of Power 5 teams handed out at least 300 offers this cycle, right? For classes that don't often really exceed 25. 300 offers. Yeah, Tennessee and Syracuse send out more than 440 offers in this cycle. Ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, and how many, what are we talking about? We're talking about 100,000+ scholarship offers to fill 12,000 available scholarships. The numbers are just ridiculous because everybody wants to be in, sure, but not all offers are equal. So some of these are just, hey, I get to say I have an Alabama offer. I have a Texas offer. I have a Michigan offer. I have insert blue blood here as an offer. And maybe that helps you down the road secure your spot at a place where, well, you're a little bit more of a high value. You're a little more of a high value target, a high value prospect. But this cannot continue to go on. Because if everybody's got an offer, what does an offer actually mean? Is it like being at a restaurant? Is it like your reservation doesn't mean anything until you get there? Corey, you ever had call ahead waiting at a restaurant?
Yep.
You ever got there and they said, we don't have your spot, or you're going to have to wait an hour?
Yes.
I hate that.
Multiple times.
I crossed those people off my list. I don't go there anymore because what's the point? Call ahead is supposed to make me feel better about having a spot, like I'm thinking ahead. I'm doing the math. I'm helping the restaurant by calling ahead and saying, look, we plan to be there at this time. I'm going to be there at this time. Now, if I don't show up, we can talk about penalties, right? Most people, when they call the pizza place, first thing the pizza place asks you if you want delivery is, what's your phone number? Because if you don't pick up your pizza or you stiff us, we're not going to let you order no more pizza, right? I don't understand why this is hard for some folks to figure out here, man. I mean, Nick Saban and Alabama, they sent out 203 offers in 2015. Last year, they sent out 287. For what? 20 spots? Come on, man. Who here believes that this is a good idea? If you do, I encourage you to call the station and fight me because I'm going to dunk on you. There's no way you can be okay with being a part of 300 other kids for 25 spots. Offer a kid you like. And if the kid accepts your offer, he commits to you, keep your word. But that's not what people want to hear. People want to hear that a kid is being a kid. And you know what? They're allowed. If that's what happens, if a child changes his mind, that's the price of doing business for me, okay? 16 and 17-year-olds change their minds. Most people with those in their house right now can say the same. When you were 16 or you were 17, you thought you wanted to go somewhere for college, and then you learned the math. You either could not afford out-of-state tuition, or your parents said, I'll pay for you to go to XYZ. I will not pay for you to go to CWE. Okay? It's not hard, man. Now, the Division I Council has brought this, it's been on their table and it's been tabled. You know, I don't know why this is the thing that gets tabled, but they get pushed through the red shirt rule. We can talk about giving kids the opportunity to play 4 games before they redshirt, but we can't talk about not being allowed to offer a kid before September 1st of their junior year. That would mean the offers mean something. That would mean you would not have any more of this story that happened earlier in the week, reported by my buddy David Ubben for The Athletic, about a fake recruit being listed in the Rivals and 24/7 composite base. Because you would be able to suss it out. It'd be much easier to just talk to a high school football coach, talk to the kid, see who they're in contact with to verify that they have an offer. But in this case, where the fake recruit had an offer to Tennessee, it's not hard to believe that because they send out 440 offers. So, I mean, yeah, I get it. Do your due diligence. Check your math, right? Don't be sloppy. But on the other hand, Tennessee sent out 440 offers. How many of those are committable? I mean, I'm honestly asking here, how many of 440 offers are committable? Like, who are you? What? Did you offer somebody's dog? Huh? Did you offer another child that's in the womb? Probably. And if you're Jeremy Pruitt and you're going around telling everybody that my team is garbage and that anybody could play for them right now, you lost your team, number one. And now you're going, okay, it's a free-for-all over there at Tennessee. Maybe I want to go somewhere where they're being just a little bit more judicious, where I can form a relationship with everybody and I won't be meat at the market. It's bothersome to me. Corey, how many offers do you have? You remember?
13.
13 offers. Do you remember off the top of your head?
Most of them.
Okay, who stuck out to you?
Clemson, Nebraska, UCLA, Michigan State.
Who was the head coach of Clemson when you got offered?
Shit. He was the Bowden.
Okay, Terry Bowden?
Terry Bowden.
Did anybody of those offers feel like they were just yanking your chain, like they offered you to offer you?
Definitely Michigan State, and I felt like Nebraska too.
How'd you get that sense?
They came in super late, and they were just nonchalant about it. Like, hey, we love to have you, but if you don't come, then, you know, it's all right. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a real, like, we need you.
So you got Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a shot across the bow. That was definitely me taking a shot. Got Josh Jacobs. You know? Look, when that kind of thing can happen, I wouldn't have faulted Corey for committing to Michigan State and then saying, you know, I'm going to go to Oklahoma State. Why? Because the joke's on you now. You know, it's just shady and salty and mean. It's mean. Because, yeah, you're assigning the market value, but for a kid, I'm going to use Michigan because I know the total instead of Michigan State, from Louisiana, like Corey, that's $51,000 a year to go to the University of Michigan. As opposed to what? Maybe if you're like me, right? You might have thought about it. Be like, it's Michigan or it's Michigan State. What are my chances of cashing that other lottery ticket, going to the league? You know, now Corey made it happen. You know, 2-star recruit that made good, but that ain't everybody's story. Some folks, the first offer is going to be the biggest offer because it's the first people that actually, you know, acknowledge that you are worthwhile to recruit. But outside of that, you know, I'm thinking to myself, if LSU came in late, Bama came in late, would I want to do it? Yeah, because it makes good NFL sense, but I'd really have to think about it. Sometimes it can work out, you beat Josh Jacobs, sometimes it doesn't, and you end up David Cornwell out in Nevada. All right? When we come back, we're going to talk about the lion named Zion and why I know Nike is freaking out about him blowing a wheel. But first, I'm going to send y'all to the break, tell you about Steve Bullard at McGraw Realtors. My bad, Steve. I'm eating these Girl Scout cookies, so he got me on one right now. I'm thinking about Girl Scout cookies when I should be thinking about houses, but I'm leaving Steve to do that because he is my favorite realtor. And you can give him a call. You can follow him on Twitter at Steve Bullard. Steve is the homie. Also, the only guy that is probably down with the Manny Machado deal to the Padres because he's a Padres fan. Hope you don't mind me putting you out there like that, Steve, because I just did. When we come back, the lion named Zion Williamson, 6'7", 285 pounds, plays basketball. My goodness. This is RJ Young. Fight me on the animal.